Good to be with you. Experts are predicting the housing market will roar back after the upcoming election, driven by shifting buyer and seller confidence. With key economic indicators and potential policy changes on the horizon, the stage is now set for a robust recovery, according to our next guest. For more, I'm joined by Christy Becker, founder of Christy Becker Realty. It's wonderful to have you with us. How does political uncertainty affect buyer and seller confidence, and why might the housing market rebound after the election? Take us through.
Yes. First of all, thank you so much for having me. I appreciate the time and opportunity today. Every 4 years we see the same cycle. I've been doing this for a few decades now, and I've seen a few political presidential elections. And, from our standpoint, in the real estate market, if you've been doing this a long time, this is nothing new. Unfortunately, we see this about 6 weeks, a month prior to elections. You see this kind of great big freeze, where buyers and sellers are, like everybody else, anticipating on what's going to happen the first week in November at the election. So, you see this great big pause, so to speak, is what we call it. And roughly about 25% of buyers and sellers are waiting to see what the election is going to do, which person is going to win the election, and how that's going to affect rates, how is that going to affect the market, how is that going to affect inventory, and all the things. And so, as much as I wish, us in the real estate industry have a crystal ball to say exactly what is going to happen, I will tell you, if I did, I would not probably be in real estate. I'd be retired on a beach somewhere if I knew the answers to those questions already. But we simply just don't know. We don't know how the market is going to react to whoever is going to be.
It feels like people are almost holding their breath until, the election in November. But what economic factors could drive a post-election housing market recovery? That seems to be the phrase, is that recovery, and hopefully some positive outlook as well.
Absolutely. A lot of that is going to depend on inflation. And, unfortunately, when things cost more and food and gas and living expenses and, all those things affect the housing industry and affect what's going to happen the first week in November. And what we're seeing now is, the Feds, because the inflation is high, we just saw recently, obviously the last couple of weeks that the Feds dropped, a few basis points, a half basis point in the market, and that affected our interest rates a little bit. And they are expecting to have a few more rate cuts into 2025. So, post-election, we are really looking for an uptick in the real estate market. Hopefully a little more drops in the interest rates will drive buyers kind of off the fence, those who've been waiting to see what happens and waiting to kind of get back out there and start their buying process again, and kind of drive some more buyer frenzy in the market to kind of kickstart the real estate market.
Okay, well, let's just continue on with this. How could housing policies and, I guess, tax incentives and interest rates shape the market post-election, if we can, again, crawl through this a little further?
Yeah, exactly. We have two sides of the fence here, let's be honest. The Harris, administration wants to give several several different tax credits to first-time home buyers. In my opinion, already in a tight housing market and a tight housing shortage of what we're in, because that's exactly where we're at right now, unfortunately, is we just simply don't have enough homes to sell. And all that's going to do is just going to drive home prices up already for first-time home buyers, causing an issue in the already tight market that it is for first-time home buyers, and causing these issues to 10x, if you want to call it, and make it a little bit more difficult for first-time home buyers who are already having a hard time with affordability, even affording housing right now, to get out there and afford houses in the future in 2025. So, to go back to your question, these tax cuts, although I think, I feel like in the Harris administration are coming from a good place, I think what it's going to do is already just make a hard time for first-time home buyers even buying in the market, going to make it that much more difficult.
Interesting. Chrissy, just to finish for us, how can we prepare for these potential market shifts post-election? What would your advice be to people out there?
You know, when I'm consulting, you know, being in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, but also looking at the national housing market in general, what we're consulting our clients to do is, if you're truly in the market to want to buy a home, now's the time to do it. You want to buy it in the off season when prices, you know, are a little bit more competitive. You have a little bit more competitive advantage on what you can afford and a little bit more negotiating power if you buy now in the housing market off season than you will if you buy in the spring and summer. And that's what we're consulting, you know, our buyers now. For sellers, we're saying the same thing. You know, of course, you know, the peak time to sell is spring and summer, you know, but you just have to, with any, not only election year or not, you just have to, you know, ride these waves out and see how it plays out in 2025. But long-term, long-range, what we're looking at is a much stronger housing market for 2025 than we have been in these last couple of months of 2024. So the outlook looks great. We're excited, and you know, we're you know, upbeat and, you know, ready for 25 to be.
That's what we want to hear as we head into the new year. Christy Becker, thank you for joining us on the program, giving us a rundown of how the housing market is looking with all this election stuff going on as well.
Yes. Thank you so much for having me. Appreciate your time.